Hello, so my name is Florence Kuyper and I'm an expedition leader with Ponar and for the polar regions, so Antarctica, the Arctic, the North Pole and the whole Arctic. So the first time that I reached the North Pole was a couple of years ago on the icebreaker on Le Commandant Charcot, and it was amazing because it's ice and ice and ice, and you navigate for days through the ice, like through solid stuff. And all of a sudden you're at 90 degrees north. You're on top of the world. It's magic. I can't describe it otherwise. It's very hypnotizing to navigate in that ice and then to realize that you're really standing on top of the world. That's something.
Which year?
2021, of course. Oh, yes. Of course I do. And the reason is that it's so nice to work with people, with my team, people who are so knowledgeable and so experienced and so passionate about the regions where they work. And it's also fantastic to deliver something to our guests. Like, we all love what we're doing, but it's so nice to be able to share what you love. And this is where our guests come in. So it's really nice, and people are curious and they're smiley and happy when they discover all these things. So that is an absolute pleasure. And then last but not least, I mean, how privileged are we to be able to travel to these regions, honestly, like to Antarctica and to the Arctic. And every time it's different, it's never ever the same. So yeah, you cannot not love this job. Doing an expedition means that you can never plan from A to B to C, because things will always change, because in the end it's the weather, it's ice, it's animals. They will make you change your itinerary or your operations, so you can never really plan. And in a sense that's difficult, because I'd like to tell you tomorrow you're going to do this and you can see that. I will tell you that that's the plan, but then very often the plan changes because of circumstances that nature dictates us. And in a sense, that's also what is so nice about what we're doing, that we have to listen to nature and then organize something. And to be honest, this plan B is very often better than my plan A. So what nature offers is usually really, really nice and much better. This is such a difficult question, because there's so much that I love in the Arctic. But what I like in the Arctic is that it's more difficult to know what you're going to encounter. So the animals you're going to see, you never really know where they are and when they're going to show up. So it's exciting to always look for them. And the other element in the Arctic is people. Like, you have Inuit, for example, in Greenland and in Canada. And that's an added thing that you don't have in Antarctica. And then if you look at Antarctica, unforgettable, I would say it's just the vastness, how big it is. That is what is most unforgettable. In the beginning, I thought it were the animals, like the penguins or the whales. And then I thought it was maybe the landscapes. But in the end, I think it's the light. When you go to the North Pole, like we just did, the lights change constantly. The light on the ice, it's just unforgettable. I would say, and it makes you want to come back. That's the worst thing. You just get addicted to that light. So 3 reasons to visit the North Pole. I think one is, and the most important, is that you're going to sail through ice, and that is strange because a ship sails in something liquid in the sea, but not in solid ice. So that in itself is incredible. And you do this a couple of days, and then you land on the North Pole, on top of our world. You can't do that in Antarctica, because Antarctica is a continent, not sea. So that is amazing. And then, of course, if you're lucky, you can see polar bears. And when you see a polar bear on the ice, this is where their natural habitat is. And that's fantastic. It's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege to see them, to observe them from a quiet ship and to see what happens. So that would be definitely 3 good reasons to come to the North Pole. Greenland is green in the south and it's white in the north. There's many places where you can go. There's many settlements with such nice people living there. And nobody can go there. There's like no infrastructure, so the only way to get there is by ship. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's nice for walks. You can do really good walks over there, really nice plants, and there's some beautiful glaciers and beautiful ice. So the Northwest Passage to me is one of the most stunning destinations you can do, because this is a real voyage. You leave from Greenland, you go through Canada, and you're really in the wake of the old explorers who tried to find this. For centuries they've tried to find a way from Europe to Asia, and this is what you're going to explore. So there's a lot of history there, really a lot of history, and the landscape is just empty, it's barren. Sometimes you have polar bears there, sometimes there's a whale. There's not super abundant wildlife, but there's just some sort of magic, like you really feel that it has been difficult for the explorers to find this way out again, so from Europe to Asia. And then there's also some isolated communities where you can go. Sometimes there's remains from something, I don't know, something old, the old villages that have been abandoned. And there's all of that, and it's very different landscape, very different places. Sometimes they're very rocky, sometimes they're very green. Personally, it's my favorite, the Northwest Passage.
Okay, thank you so much. It's like